Welcome back everyone to some more Kenshi Let's Struggle. It's been quite a while since I've played this. My last PC had a part that broke, so I couldn't play anything for a couple weeks. But we're finally back. Welcome ladies and gentlemen, fucking people of Imperial City. It's good to be back in our fucking hellhole that is Fort Harold. Firstly, we're of course greeted to some dust bandits. They had to show up about a total of 1 minute after I hit the play button. 1 in-game minute too. Now, in the last episode though, you guys might remember we recruited Laird the Leviathan. Very friendly big beast. Now, he's pretty strong. I would say he's more of a tank. You know, he just takes a lot of hits. He has a lot of HP. Our beak thing, Imp Lord, is, I'd say, a lot stronger still. He hits for like 400 or 500s. Meanwhile, Laird the Leviathan hits around 200, which is still pretty high. As far as food supply goes, we were good. But I forgot I was upgrading one of the parts, so that wasn't working for a few days, so we ran out of food. Quite a few people around the base are all starving, and I honestly have to say that if this is a fucking disgusting amount of people that aren't doing anything. Just eating food and doing fuck all. This is why I don't recruit anymore. Over to the west, fucking never eat. Okay, and over to the east, there's Brink. It's another United City city. Oh my god, that's a fucking mouthful. But it's just across Venge, and it's near Fort Harold. And for this episode, Harold plans to get his group all together and at least bring around half of his men over to Brink in order to barrage it and take over the town. Be quite a task though, and seeing as everybody's already in the throne room, Harold decided to go there himself. In order to speak a little bit clearer, Harold takes off his helmet, and also so that his companions can see eye contact and his true emotions. Oh yeah, bongs aren't smooth, but you know what is smooth? Taking over Brink. It's been a long time coming. The United Cities have they've fucked with us quite a bit, stolen our hash, dicked us around just about every day we ever see them. A lot of bullshit, so my god, I need a fucking smoke. So we're gonna go do it tomorrow. Oh my Okran! Together, we will fight and be strong, and we will go forth against the United Cities, and after them, the Holy Nation, to take over this map from all evil fucking idiots. Now go off, do some shit. Harold finishes his speech. A group of bandits end up attacking Fort Harold, so everybody runs out anyways. Well, the message out of the way, it's time to start preparing to leave for Brink. Now, first, we want to get all the skeletons in our skeleton repair beds, make sure they're all healed up. Along with that, I had to do some repairs to the fort. I wouldn't normally put this in, but people are going to ask me. Because that house, I can't replace the wall with a normal wall for some reason now. It just fucking won't work. So instead, I got this shit makeshift wall that connects. It looks a lot worse, but I mean, it's Kenshi Let's Struggle. Following that, I decided to go and get Harold a brand new weapon. He'd been using a pretty standard, just hacker weapon for a long time now, so the one I picked up does an insane amount of extra damage towards humans, greenlanders, scorchlanders. Basically, if you aren't bug, shack, or skeleton, you're fucked. Along with that, we had a lot of different weapons produced in the amount of time that we had just been floating about. A lot of these I'm just not going to end up using, and I can make better grades always, so I decided to throw them in a shop counter just because it's easy. And with that, the very next day, the group was just about all prepared to leave Fort Harold and go over to Brink. Getting the group all together, you could barely see them around fucking Laird the Leviathan, and because he's so big, he can't actually leave the gate. Like, he can't get through it without someone picking him up and bringing him through. With that, we got everybody outside and ready to go and head over to Brink. There's 25 members in our party. Almost half of the entire Hair Young Empire was going to go to this battle in Brink. Harold had very little doubts in his mind that he wouldn't be able to secure a victory over them, and they had called it upon themselves for starting war a long time ago with Harold. Still, whether his actions are right or wrong are only really up to him unless he loses, to which it's up to whoever he's fighting. As that's just the way the world of Kenshi works. Going into the next biome, it is of course Venge. Now, Venge has to be my fucking least favorite of all biomes in Kenshi. Like, no, like, I love it. I love the concept. But it sucks ass to go through here. I can't stand it, man. There's so many weak thralls around here. They're not even strong. They're just a pain in the ass. They slow you down. And along with that, you have to dodge all the light beams that are shooting out of the sky. I ended up finding the old control tower, but I'm not even bothering it with it right now because just about 4 hits from those light beams is enough to kill some of the units. So I decided to have them just go on their way and try and get to Stormgap Coast as fast as possible. Now, while traveling, they picked up Laird the Leviathan because they traveled a little bit faster without him walking. But if they're all hidden under him, you can't see anyone. pretty cool to use that as a maneuver to get into Brink. But either way, after dodging very many light beams and almost making it out, we finally got hit by one, and of course it wiped out about half of our health for most of our units. Quite a fucking pain in the ass. Seeing how it's literally like 1 hour later in game, we made it to Brink and we were ready to storm right into the fucking place. We couldn't. I mean, we could have, but it's not worth it. Instead, the group will be going over to a trader's guild in order to rest up for the Lord of the Leviathan got stuck though. He can't fucking move past shit. But everything was alright. There's a lot of traders here and they were non-hostile towards us, so that meant that we could go into the bar and then select everybody to go rest in the beds, as well as pick up some food and stuff from them. I didn't expect, but the bar actually had a lot of different blueprints that I didn't have for weapons and stuff like that. Some of these are actually gun weapons. Those, of course, come from a mod, but I'll be looking into those pretty soon so we can have some guns in this series. But with that, Harold and his injured companions rest up throughout the night, all the way up until around afternoon to where they could finally leave and pursue Brink once again. Ironically, right when they woke up, a giant light beam went through. It didn't actually hurt anyone, thank fucking Okram. Fucking light beams, you know, some holy rays protecting it. I'm not gonna question it too much. I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here and go over to Stormgap Coast, because now is finally the time. Get the One Piece music kicking. The group had traveled over one biome. Okay, it's not that far. We traveled farther for Fishland Island. But it was time for payback. Time for when they went to go just trade some goods or see the city, and then they'd immediately get bitch slapped by them. Now is the time for payback. None of the Empire samurais could stop Harold or his men or his beasts as they all entered the city one by one. Looking at Harold's new weapon, I could see that it was doing quite a bit of damage, honestly. One-hitting quite a few units or getting them to negative health, which is fucking insanely good. As well as this, he just performs a lot better with this weapon, it seems. It's a lot faster as far as his dexterity goes, and he's doing quite a bit more moves, a lot more animations as well as blocks. After watching Harold knock out some samurais moving up towards the hill, I could see the battle had gone out of control. I did not think it would escalate this far, but after realizing that there was over 100 residents in Brink, that would basically mean everybody had to take out 4 units for each of them. That was okay though, and more than doable, as Implord could probably take out everyone just by himself. And after soon, I could see that the battle was going well. Not very many of our men were injured, as well as most of the samurais were either dead or bleeding out in the middle of Brink on the ground. Heading into the different buildings one by one, Harold would go in and attack whoever was hostile or opposing his lead. And then after that, I found some mercenaries that were sitting at the bar and hired them for 2 days. This will just help us out with making sure that all the samurais and Empire, they all die, as well as the Mercenaries Guild will come to us and heal us. Right after, Lady Tsugi came to the bar, of course trying to get drunk, running into a fight. Now, even though she's the strongest unit that is at Brink and basically the leader of it, I guess, she was very easy to take down this time, seeing as all of her units had basically stats that were similar to hers and loot that was way better. I made sure to have Galaxian kidnap her as we'd be taking her back to Fort Harold, and then Harold continued to go one by one into each building. The craziest building that we went into was the farm building. This one was just fucking nuts. Honestly, Harold and everyone had to fight a bunch of cows and chickens from all the farm mods I have. A fucking great sight, man. Honestly, just admire it. I loved it. The battle was starting to come to a close though. It seemed that most of the Empire samurais were knocked out or just trying to crawl away and escape from Brink. As far as loot goes, here there really wasn't too much. I mean, some of the traders and stuff like that, they had some either caps or backpacks on them that we could take, but a lot of people's loot just wasn't really worth taking. I can either make loot myself that's better than it, or just buy better loot, like it doesn't really matter. The only loot I would take would be from the samurai sergeants. These guys have like fucking specialist grade, which is way better than anyone else's there. Still pretty much better than some of our own units. But it seemed that the population was just 3 people left inside of Brink. So Harold and his group went to each different shop and house looking for any weapons or things to take. Unfortunately though, most of the stuff here just wasn't worth taking. I mean, I could have and then made some profit, but it's honestly just more of a bitch on my side. I can make money a lot easier. So not only was the loot bad from both the people and the buildings. Captain Vlad got stuck in the fucking gate. I don't know how, just another glitch. He got pushed into it or something, but he couldn't get out. And then no one could pick him up to bring him out. So I decided just to chill out for a little bit. I would let Implord and all the other animals just run around eating the different samurais and making sure that no Empire citizens were left alive. After the battle, I took a look by pressing the Alt key, and you could see the amount of limbs that were here. These are all high tier unit limbs. Absolutely insane. Looks like almost every single Empire person lost some shit today. I could see then that the population was back to 0. There was still different people from NPCs, but they were non-hostile, and I don't think I needed to kill them in order to, just the town leader. Or at least that's what it says. So by doing a good clickety clack of the fucking ankles, you know, like the Wizard of Harold, aka save and reset squad positions and load, I would have everybody load into a cluster back at the base, that way Captain Vlad wouldn't be left behind. First off, I had Glaxian and fucking Oompa Loompa size run over to where we keep our prisoners and throw in Lady Tsugi. Theoretically, kidnapping, killing, or recruiting her should make Brink lose control from the Empire. So after a quick chit chat, Harold ended up getting Lady Tsugi to join the group. Well, maybe not make, more like a force, but same thing. She's now a happy citizen of the Harry Young Empire. So Harold gave her back her nice sword. Along with that, I wanted to get her some better armor, as her current armor was just sort of like rags to run around in. A little bath suit, you're not fucking fighting in that. With the armor from the Empire sergeants and the arrival of a Hill Marauder bandit raid, I would have a chance to see Lady Tsugi in action, and yeah, she's pretty fucking thick, dude. I didn't get to see her too much though, because everybody got in the fucking way, of course. It's Kenshi. I mean, what do you expect when you go 50 plus members? But on the downside, I didn't notice until after the battle, half of these people were traitors, I think, that were hostile towards us because we were attacking the Empire. So I put one of them in a cage and then talked to him until we could get our faction relations back to 0. That way, if they come back to us, they won't just fucking raid us again. But once looking at the map, I could see that Brink was still not really taken over by us. It should be blue at this point, but it was still red. So I decided to send Harold over. Travels at a fast 52 kilometers an hour, so getting there was no problem. But once arriving there, the mental toll of seeing more fucking Empire running around made him snap. He was going to solo it until a fucking Lee Hurricane from a spear, basically. Like, mega bullshit. I'm not dealing with that alone, okay? We're not being taken prisoner today. Harold's just too fast for the Empire, or really for any. Wheel legs of his make it basically impossible for them to catch up to him. Even traveling by a giant group of Empire, they don't even have time to react and swing a sword or shoot him. He just runs right by them. There's nothing they can do. Only thing he isn't invincible towards is the fucking light beams, of course. I checked in on him later, and he got damaged quite a bit, down to negative health, so that wasn't good at all. But thankfully, he would make it back to Fort Harold later that night. Now, I noticed our hash supply was not working, and that's because we are completely full on hash. We had 500 hash stored up at this point, which was great. I loaded it all onto Snub and then went over to our shop counters. Normally you'd transport this up north to get more money, but I don't think we can sell this all in 1, 2, maybe fucking 5 runs. So I'm just gonna sell it here and then work towards setting up a new base to sell hash over towards the north. Now also, I wanted to put in this one building. This is gonna be the last building we put into Fort Harold for quite a while, I do think. As we do want to expand and try to get to other places on the map, we'll have to focus a little bit less on here, but this will be our other training building. Now, like all of our buildings, it's on a fucking slant, of course. Excellent for anyone having a few drinks. But the mission to take over Brink was not entirely successful. I mean, it was to a degree, but I don't know, maybe the mod didn't work or there was something I was missing. If anyone knows, feel free to let me know so I can take over these fucking places. Either way, Harold thinks everything went alright in the end. In the next episode, we're going to be moving more towards north and trying to settle down another outpost up towards there. So make sure you guys look out for that episode. As always, I want to thank you guys for sticking through and watching this episode of the Kenshi Let's Struggle. It's a blast playing this game, especially on the new PC. It's running way smoother and I can play it with good graphics finally. We'll also have all my mods loaded. I'm looking forward to a lot more adventures in Kenshi, so stay tuned for a lot more content. Until then though, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.